welcome, and thanks everybody for coming out today. It's a nice, warm, sunny day in Fargo, and it's an exciting day for Bison athletics, and in particular for women's soccer. And it's good as I look out. Obviously, I see a lot of staff and media, and it's great to introduce Mike and his family to the Fargo community. But it's really nice to see a lot of the current players on the women's soccer team, and really glad to have a lot of you involved in the process as we went through this. You met with the candidates, and certainly your feedback was very important. And today is as much about you and your experience as it is about welcoming Coach and his family. So glad you all could be here, and really happy to have you all here. Before I introduce Mike officially, I do want to just spend some time on the search process a little bit. And first and foremost, I want to thank and recognize Troy Gergen for. He's our Senior Associate Director of Athletics. He's our Sports Supervisor for women's soccer, and did an incredible job in leading the search and identifying what I think is a really, really deep pool of candidates for this position. And as you go through this, I think it confirmed a lot of things that we think we already knew, in terms of, I think, how highly thought of our women's soccer program is here at North Dakota State. And I think it was definitely reflective in the quality, talented pool that we had as we went through this process. And so that's always nice when you go through a search like this to see, wow, what a sought-after place that North Dakota State is to work at. But again, a lot of the credit goes to the young ladies over here to my right who have built a great program here. So again, a lot of the credit goes to them. With Mike, we talked a lot about at North Dakota State expectations. And when our coaches recruit student athletes, when we recruit coaches, we tell them there's high expectations here. There's expectations to be a champion. And those are the type of folks who end up rising to the top at North Dakota State. And I don't think that's anything different than what we got in Mike, somebody who's incredibly talented, somebody who understands and embraces the expectations we have here at North Dakota State. And I think he too believes that this program can be successful annually. In the Summer League, we compete for Summer League championships every single year. He's somebody who is very much committed and talked a lot about in the interview process about building relationships with the team, with people in the department, people on campus, people in the community. Spent a lot of time talking about the academic mission and how important the student-athlete component is here and will be under his leadership of the program. But more importantly for us, two things. He's a person of great integrity and high character, and somebody that wanted to be at North Dakota State. And that's something that we always look for, again, whether it's recruits, staff members, coaches. We want people who want to be here. It's a great place. There's great expectations. But that's why, as I look around, I see a lot of great people in this room that are on our staff. He brings in an incredibly successful career back in England, both head and assistant coaching experience. And more importantly for us, too, he has Midwest recruiting ties. So really excited to welcome Mike and his family. His wife, Marity's here with us, and he has two young boys, Kieran and Liam, who hopefully in the next month or so we'll get a chance to introduce them to Bison Nation as well. And with that, Mike, I welcome you to North Dakota State.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. I just wanted to thank Matt and Troy and all the search committee members that met with me during my interview. It was very, very clear to me just the vision, the passion, the pride that people have to be at NDSU. I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was how genuine people are here, how passionate they are about every single student athlete. And so, I appreciate the opportunity, but also appreciate everyone in this room and others that were here last week meeting with me. I did get the opportunity to meet with the team, and I see that some of them are here today, and they were very honest with me about what they were looking for moving forward. They were very honest and open to what they think the next steps are. Just want to take this opportunity to thank a few people along my career. I started at a junior college in the northern part of Iowa, North Iowa Area Community College. I worked for an athletic director, Dan Mason, that hired me at 20 years old. And so really appreciate his time. When I went to Drake, I worked for Lindsay Horner. I was there for 4 years, and she was tremendous to work for. More importantly, she allowed me to grow. She allowed me to have a lot of responsibility. And then just recently coming from Indiana, where the challenge of the Big Ten was fantastic, and I worked for Amy Burberry there that gave me that opportunity for the 2 years. Just two other people. Just want to mention my dad, who's been a huge supporter of me in my playing career, and also Colin Murphy, who's been a big mentor for me. Before we open up to questions, I just want to wish Mark Cook, who obviously I'm replacing as the head coach, just the best in his next adventure. Whenever I spoke to him about NDSU, he always spoke very highly and very complimentary of everything that was going on here. So, thanks for coming today, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, and we'll open it up to any questions.
Coach, what stood out to you about North Dakota State, looking at it from afar, to say this is the next step for me, this is why I want to come here?
Yeah, I think my time at Drake, I always knew from afar this was a place that had high standards, institutionally was growing, athletically was growing, and I always knew that when I was at Drake, and then when I went to Indiana, that I think the Bison footprint just continued to grow. When I got here, I was really taken back at the vision, the quality of the people, and obviously meeting with Troy and Matt, it was clear that they want to be bigger and better than what they are now, but doing things the right way. And so for a young professional, you want to be part of this. This is exciting to come into the Bison Athletics right now, and potentially where it can go is really exciting.
How'd you get a head job at 20 years old?
Yeah, good question. So
he's really, really good, Jeff. He's really good.
Yeah. I know I look about 40, 43. I'm 33. But no, when I first come to the States, I went to the junior college, like I mentioned, and I mentioned in my opening statement, Colin Murphy. He was the head coach at the time. Cut long story short, he was a lawyer, and he got very busy with his practice, and so we reversed roles. And I kind of fell into a community where people didn't even know what soccer was, to be honest. So kind of, that's where I started my journey, and that's where it was meant to be.
What kind of style of play do you want to implement at North Dakota State with the players you have here?
Yeah, I think in the next month I'll be able to work with the group and see what the current players have to offer. I think something I spoke about in the interview process is, I'm a coach that wants to have the ball. I want to possess the ball more than the opposition. I want to attack teams with numbers. But also I think it would be smart of me to assess what we have here, what the qualities are initially, and then over time that we can build it from there. But I've never been, a coach that wants to, be very direct, so to speak. I definitely want my teams to play out from the back, but also good teams know how to adjust. Situational play will be very important in our development. One thing I'd like to add to that, one thing I'm very passionate about is developing players, individually, collectively, in our lines. And that's obviously a great time to come in here and do that throughout the spring, and then we can get after it in the fall.
How do these facilities compare to Missouri Valley? Just curious.
Yeah, me and my wife were walking around the facilities just before we came here, and we were talking about when I was at Drake, fantastic place, but the facilities weren't anything on here, and that's no disrespect to them. I'd even go as far as saying that some of the bells and whistles that we have here are better than what Indiana have, and that's no disrespect to them. But that was one of the biggest things that stood out when I came on the interview just straight away. This building's fantastic to get all the student athletes under one roof, one-stop shop, so to speak, and that makes things really easy for recruiting as well.
Your ties to the Midwest and the recruiting ties that you have there. How do you see NDSU influencing some of these areas that maybe they haven't influenced in the Midwest?
Yeah, great question. I think that we continue doing what we're doing, is making sure we have a footprint in Minnesota and the upper Midwest for sure. But my time at Drake, I feel like I mastered the upper Midwest, and in my time at Indiana, I've been able to really push that even further from a national side of things. So there's definitely the opportunity to use those contacts that I've got, to continue, because I think when you get prospective student athletes here, it's a great sell for them. But Minnesota, Canada has always been, an area of interest. We'll continue that. We'll continue to make sure that we're hitting home on some areas that we need to recruit from, and then expanding like the program has done from in other areas on the roster.
What's your vision for the rest of the coaching staff, looking at retaining last year's group or bringing in some of your own people?
I'm looking forward to connecting with the two staff members that are currently here and getting to know them. That'll be important for me moving forward, just to have the opportunity to meet them and sit down with them. You know, that'll be important moving forward.
You're taking over a side that was scoreless in 9 of 19 games last year. How do you plan on getting goals to flow in?
Yeah, I think you're correct, but I think if we look at the Summit League standings, I think if we look at the Summit League output, it was pretty good. And so, you know, I think that comes down from this time of year. You know, if there is a lack of confidence in front of goal, then we work on being positive and putting that right. You know, you can't obviously win every game. You can't score in every game, but just intentionally we want to do that. And so that's all about the dynamic and the philosophy that I'll definitely implement. You know, but you know the team finished off the season in a fantastic manner, and we're very close to the NCAA tournament bid. So we'll look to capture that and build on that momentum.